Our leaders are behind us. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that is planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Let me stand on an existing protocol already established. Protocols. Another year, another day, another May Day is here, comrades. The day of celebration of creativity, of production, and of wealth creation. The day that the world has chosen to recognize and celebrate us. Workers who create wealth of the world. It is a day that recognizes the struggles of workers for the better workplace, which have become precursors of creation of more inclusive and sustainable globe. A day that symbolizes the dynamics of the struggle by working people all over the world to ensure that the world of work remains a place of freedom which guarantees that our societies are humane and fair to all. On this International Workers' Day, we stand as the voices of the Nigerian working class, proud and resolute. Despite relentless opposition, we, the Nigerian Labour Congress and TUC, endure. They have thrown everything at us, but we stand firm, echoing popular saying, there is no killing the beetle, there is no killing the trade unions. Workers are the backbone of our society, from sunrise to sunset, fueling progress and prosperity. Our relentless and toil demands recognition and respect. The correlation between workers' welfare and the national productivity is undeniable. We cry out not for charity, but for the better Nigeria. As we celebrate, let's remember the struggles of the past and confront today's challenges head-on. Fair wages, safe working conditions, and social protection are not negotiable. Our collective strength drives progress, but inequalities persist. We must advocate for inclusivity and justice. Putting people first isn't just a slogan. It is a moral imperative. Governance must prioritize the well-being of citizens. Our success as a nation hinges on policies that uplift and empower every individual. We must bridge the gap between the governed and the government. Without considering the people's needs, governance fails. Government must align with the people's interests, no self-serving agenda. We demand results, not empty promises. It is time to prioritize the welfare of Nigerians above all else. As we celebrate, let us honor the tireless workers who shape our world. Together in solidarity, we march towards a brighter future for all. Without workers, there is no progress. Without trade unions, there is no democracy. We are the people, and our nation's resources depend on putting us first. State of our movement. At this critical juncture, Nigerian workers and trade unions movement face escalating pressures, both locally and globally. Our social partners increasingly pose threats to our survival, enduring the very essence of our existence. As jobs vanish, work conditions deteriorate, and inequality festers in our workplaces, while the same work deficits increase. The efficacy of trade unions is severely compromised. It is worrying for us in the trade union movement that a state which is supposed to be the custodian of our laws is leading a defiance of its own institutions and agreements reached through social dialogue, which Mr. President had pledged was going to be a driving force of his presidency during his inaugural speech here in Ego Square. We are therefore worried that if the instruments of reasonable and civil engagements are deliberately scuttled, what other platforms or choices would then be left for resolving social differences that daily occur in our nation? The quest for undermining the civil space is what can only be impacted upon by leaders that are not circumspect, as it remains the only space to be used to democratically assist the nation's leaders take right decisions that will guarantee sustainable development and maintain Nigeria as a surviving entity. Anything that therefore undermines social dialogue, undermines the capacity of our nation to continuously evolve mechanisms for peaceful resolution of social economic issues that may continually confront the nation. However, comrades, we must not relent. The nature and character of our response is critically to what becomes not just the movement, but what becomes of our nation and indeed the globe. It is hence imperative that our trade union movement remains deeply rooted in our ideological heritage. The imperative of to dismantle barriers dividing us has never been more urgent. We must forge a cohesive movement, capable of safeguarding our interests while staying relevant to Nigerian workers amidst the escalating challenges and impunity in our industrial landscape. All unhealthy divisions within our various industrial unions must cease. All philosophies and principles that have led to such schemism must be removed. It is only when our affiliates are working together and are effectively engaging the issues that confront them on a daily basis that we can have vibrant labor centers that are better positioned to deliver on our expectations of Nigerian workers and people. All workers must rise from our celebration today more determined than ever before. Build a trade union movement that will continue to work within the philosophies of traditions that propelled it into existence. The minimum wage struggle. The minimum wage struggle serves as an urgent reminder of the resistance faced by workers and the obstacles deliberately placed by government. It underscores the pressing need for unity across all levels of engagement to advance our shared objectives. We are already working together in every facet of the national minimum wage fixing process to ensure that better results are achieved, which will not only speak to the welfare of Nigerian workers, but will also assist in driving business activities around the nation. We are united by a common ideology and intertwined destinies. Any leader who fails to grasp this fundamental truth does not uphold a proud tradition. Our individual aspirations must yield collective will. Only through collective action can we lift workers and masses through the shackles of oppression and poverty. It is based on this realization that we want to assure you that Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress stand resilient and more united than ever. Our strength has grown, our reach expanded, positioning us strategically to engage with our social partners for the benefits of Nigerian workers and masses. Those that worked and prayed for us, for our disunity, have become increasingly frustrated. Despite challenges, we have initiated collaborations among ourselves to advocate for better welfare for Nigerian workers. We urge all shades of opinions and positions within the movement to avoid self-serving outcomes, but should be led only by actions that will protect, promote, and propel the interests of Nigerian workers. Such self-seeking actions betray the essence of dialogue and hinder efforts to bridge long-standing divides within the movement. We extend our hands of fellowship to all Nigerian workers and unions, reaffirming our commitment to building a vibrant labor movement that implies the voices and protects the interests of workers. Nigerians and indeed Nigeria looks up to us, and we must not fail. Consequently, the Nigerian Labour Congress and TUC have made it clearly and emphatically that should the minimum wage negotiation continue and linger till the end of May, we can no longer guarantee industrial harmony in this country. State of the nation. Our nation is facing challenges with centrifugal forces tightening their grip and citizens increasingly disillusioned with leadership. This disconnect has eroded civic ownership of governance, fueling calls for more efficient and responsive systems. Agitations of restructuring, like Yoruba Nation, IPOD, Arewa Elders disconnect, reflect widespread frustration. Nepotism and disregard for constitutional principles exacerbate the problem. We must unite to address these challenges rather than relying on propaganda. It is time for genuine dialogue, restructuring to serve the majority. Truth and honesty have to be sidelined, replaced by deception and manipulation. Lawlessness is rewarded, and the state itself undermines governance, as seen in the recent unfortunate incident involving the governor of Kogi State in Abuja. The rise of warlords and militias mirrors political tactics, posing a grave danger to our nation. Leadership must prioritize humanity over self-interest to prevent further deterioration. State of the economy. The economic policies implemented by this administration have inflicted severe hardship, particularly on most vulnerable society, the workers, marginalized, and those on fixed income. As outlined in our Constitution, the government's duty is clear: to prioritize the security and welfare of our citizens, promote prosperity, ensure equal wealth distribution, and improve essential services such as education, healthcare, shelter. Chapter 2 articulates the fundamental objectives and state directive principles of state policy, which underscores the government's duty to its people and the nation. Yet, many policies have widened the gap between the wealthy and the impoverished, driving countless Nigerians deeper into poverty. Consider the decision to remove subsidy on essential commodities like petroleum, leading to price hikes and strain the average citizen's ability to meet basic needs. Food inflation is over 40%, while headline inflation is around 33.20%, pushing essential items out of the reach of many. Real wages are diminishing, with workers spending over 75% of their income on food alone. Comrades, Nigerians are crying on a daily basis. They cry in Igbo, they cry in Hausa, they cry in Yoruba. We acknowledge the government's recognition of the mistakes in floating the naira, leading to significant devaluation and inflation. However, borrowing foreign currency to support naira is a short-sighted solution that may worsen our economic situation. The dominance of international financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank is shaping our policies and undermines our national interests and perpetuates dependency. Businesses are shutting down, with significant losses incurred due to government policies. Nigeria's economy has slipped to the fourth largest in Africa, while others with similar contexts thrive due to better leadership and policies. Meanwhile, a select few benefits while the masses suffer. Petrol prices hike enriches the elite, while the devaluation of Naira further impoverishes the majority. Our nation faces escalating poverty, dwindling opportunities, and widespread disillusionment. Genuine businesses struggle, unemployment soars, and the government remains indifferent. However, there is hope if the government reevaluates its policies, prioritizes the welfare of its people, and supports local industries. We demand an end to disastrous policies like excessive borrowing and corruption. We need transparency in governance and accountability for public funds. Bold leadership is required to steer our nation towards recovery. President Tinubu has the chance to lead us towards a brighter future by putting the interests of Nigerians first. Let us act now to build a more equitable and prosperous Nigeria for all, ensuring a future free deprivation and despair. Together, we can forge a path towards a brighter tomorrow for every citizen. Labour Party. Attention, Nigerians. The Labour Party stands as a beacon of empowerment fought by the Nigerian Labour Congress and bolstered by the Trade Union Congress. Courts have unequivocally confirmed the role of the registrars and the promoters. Nigerian workers need no justification for its establishment. It proudly serves as a platform for masses, workers, and the marginalized, offering avenue to shape our nation's destiny without exorbitant election costs. Our aim is to steer governance towards people's welfare and national progress. With zeal, we declare the commencement of nationwide determination exercise through all-inclusive and expanded world congresses. This party is ours to cherish. Let every worker unite under its banner, registering and even ward elections. Reject the notion that workers should be apolitical. Trade unions worldwide engage in political endeavors, from AFL-CIO in the US to the Labour Party in Britain and beyond. Workers' voices resonate in political spheres. Let us proudly wear our membership cards, shaping the change our nation deserves. Do not succumb to doubt. Embrace the democratic right through our party. Let our collective voices resound. Comrades, the battle for our new national minimum wage rages. Our demand for 615,000 naira stands firm, rooted in the grim reality of workers' lives across the nation. Through rigorous engagement with all stakeholders, we have pressed for a 2-year lifespan for the new act, with automatic adjustment triggered by inflation suppressing 7.5%. Every employer with 5 employees and above must comply. We demand robust monitoring and strict penalties for non-compliant state governments. We have based our figures on real data gathered from our responses nationwide, ensuring that our demand reflects the true cost of living for an average family. Our message is clear. Anything less than a living wage condemns workers to poverty. We urge vigilance as we near the finish line, determined not to let other interests derail our pursuit for economic justice. Together, we will ensure that President Ahmed Tinubu promised to living wage becomes a reality for every worker. If, however, the negotiation of national minimum wage is not concluded by May, the trade union movement in Nigeria will no longer guarantee industrial safety.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Energy, esteemed guests and comrades, on inspiring approach in managing our energy resources spelled doom for our nation. Our nation is crippled by this very incompetence and selfishness, leaving our citizens and economy vulnerable. Power, regardless of its origin, fuels economic growth. Oil and gas are lifeline for economic successes worldwide. It's imperative for the government to collaborate with the people to ensure energy benefits all Nigerians, not just a privileged few. We demand action on our refineries. Promises remain unfulfilled, while operational ones in the private sector fail to ease the people's suffering. There is suspicion of sabotage to profit from importing at the expense of our economy. The recent refining agreement lacks transparency, echoing past exploitation in other sectors. Claims of trillions spent on PMS subsidy baffles us. We demand clarity from government on who benefits and who consumes the 40 million liters of projected daily consumption. The power sector plight persists a decade after privatization. Conflict of interest hamper progress, and higher tariffs for non-existent electricity are unjust. We reject unilateral and illegal tariff hike and demand adherence to due process. A 300% tariff hike would devastate domestic manufacturers. Consumer classifications perpetuate inequality akin to apartheid, endangering field workers' life. Reassessing privatization is crucial for progress. Despite billions invested, grid collapses persist and generation remains stagnant. Tanzania's recent action underscores the need for change. The government must reclaim control and account for revenue from its stakes. We commend states pursuing independent power generation and all swift actions to break monopolies and empower consumers nationwide. Let us unite to ensure energy serves all Nigerians, driving our nation's prosperity. The NLC and TUC hereby advise NEC and power sector operators to reverse the last increase in electricity tariff within the next 1 week. Public service needs to review the contributory pension scheme. Your Excellencies and comrades, there is need to review the contributory pension scheme, which was disrupted by the enactment of the 2004 Pension Reform Act. There are complaints ranging from delay or non-transmission of contributory money to Pension Fund Administration, PFA, inabilities to access the initial 25% of total contributions by retirees as stipulated by law, etc. Of most concerns is the fact that the monthly pension of those who retired under defined benefit scheme earn at least 50% monthly pension more than those who retire under the contributory pension scheme. We call that this be harmonized in the interest of justice, equity, and fairness. Need to reactivate payment of gratuity to public servants. Fellow comrades, the concept of gratuity payment to employees can be likened to the proverbial golden handshake from their employers. Gratuity is a monetary benefit from an employer to an employee at the time of retirement. The public service employees were receiving gratuity until the 2004 Pension Reform Act, which was silent on payment of gratuity, and as such, both the federal and state government stopped paying. Meanwhile, the private sector employers are still paying gratuity to their employees. We call for a reactivation because Section 173 of the 1999 Constitution as amended makes provision for the right of a person in the public service of the Federation to receive pension and gratuity. After all, political office holders receive terminal benefit even when they serve for just few years. But the employees who had worked for 35 years, 60 years of age, and even up to 70 years, they queue in line to receive peanuts as pension and no gratuity whatsoever. Call for upward review of retirement age in public service. Ladies and gentlemen, it has become imperative to demand for an upward review of the retirement age and years of service in the entire public service from 60 years to 65 years and 35 years to 40 years. The immediate past administration has increased that of teachers and judges, and we are demanding that others be considered. Only few other establishments, including civil service, are now left out. Insecurity. Our nation is bleeding. In just the past years, over 4,800 lives have been lost to violence, with over 4,000 kidnappings reported in a mere 2 weeks earlier this year. We are ranked among the top 10 most terrorized nations globally, and this is unacceptable. Banditry and terrorism have made life unsafe for farmers and communities nationwide. Traveling is a nightmare. Economic activities suffer and food shortages loom as farmers are ransacked or abandoned. Despite billions allocated to security annually, the situation worsens. We must rethink our security approach and strategy involving communities for greater safety. Security is communal. It starts with the people. A nation unable to secure itself isn't ready for development. Economic growth hinges on insecurity. We can't ignore these existential issues. Investing in people secure the nation. It's time to prioritize the people for a secure and prosperous nation. Gender and youth. The pivotal role of women and youth in national development cannot be overstated. They constitute about half of Nigeria's population and are indispensable contributor to all facets of society. Women particularly play a vital role in unpaid care work, sustenance, economies, and agriculture, essential for our survival and prosperity. To fully leverage the vast knowledge and skills of every individual, regardless of gender, we must dismantle barriers impeding women's participation in national development, leading to enhanced socio-economic and political progress. Gender mainstreaming is paramount in addressing pervasive gender disparities across all sectors. Despite some strides, much remains to be accomplished to realize developmental goals and ensure gender equity. Government policies must prioritize the unique need of marginalized groups and establish supportive environments for women and youth to thrive. Additionally, eradicating gender-based violence and workplace harassment is imperative. With the ratification of ILO Convention 190, we have a framework to promote dignity, respect, and gender justice in the workplace. It is incumbent upon both the government and employers to demonstrate unwavering commitment to ending violence and harassment and fostering an inclusive environment where everyone's rights and dignity are respected. Therefore, we call for the attainment of 35% women representation in leadership, full implementation of ILO Convention 190, creation of sustainable employment opportunities for youth, and safeguarding the rights of workers, particularly those in the informal sector and individuals with disability. Let us unite to build a more inclusive and equitable society for all. The informal economy. In Nigeria, amidst soaring skyscrapers, and winding alleyways, the informal economy thrives. Women dominate this vibrant ecosystem, constituting 75% of its workforce. Despite their resilience, they face legal recognition issues and resource constraints. Men also play a significant role, comprising 61% of the workforce, contributing to economic activities. However, the informal economy operates on the fringes of legality, leaving workers vulnerable to exploitation. Harassment and exploitation plague the workforce, yet they persevere. Government actions often exacerbate their plight, focusing on revenue generation rather than addressing legal needs. Addressing the informal economy is vital for inclusive growth. Policies must formalize enterprises, granting legal recognition and access to services. Gender-specific interventions are crucial to combat challenges faced by women. Empowering this workforce will unleash economic potentials, fostering a more equitable future. We urge all levels of government to immediately address overtaxation on informal workers. The drive for revenue should not burden this already exploited segment of our society. Funding of research. We affirm that research is key to the development of any nation. The gross underdevelopment of Nigeria, despite an abundance of natural resources, is attributable to negligence of research, development, and innovation (RODI) by successive governments. We demand for the implementation of the Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy and its provision for the National Research and Innovation Council for improved funding of research. We call on the National Assembly to expedite the passage of the National Research and Innovation Council Bill and on Mr. President to give assent thereafter. RODI is a sure road to overall national development, job creation, poverty alleviation, food security, diversification of economy, reduction in over-reliance on import, etc. Our war in international arena, our war continues to be under the threat of another world war as outbreak of war around the world continue to escalate, putting the entire global community in great danger. The simple origins of these wars can be traced to the duality of the application of global standards to specific regional situations, the continuing quest to beggar and hold some sections of the globe captive for the continued benefit of others, of other preferred regions of the world, imperils peace internationally. Whenever and wherever there is any shred of perceived injustice, the seed of global conflict is planted. Israel and Hamas war. The humanitarian crisis that has risen out of the war between Hamas and Israel leaves bad taste in the mouth of a much-vaunted UN mechanism for peace building and conflict resolution. The United Nations mechanisms have unfortunately become undertakers and not lifesavers for peacemaking. We want to reiterate what we said last year. War does not benefit workers and masses. It is mainly workers and the people that die in war. These wars are therefore not for the protection of the people of the world. Neither is it in our interest. It is purely driven by those who profit from wars. The bourgeois, either in the west or in the east. The bourgeois, either in the west or in the east. We call for global peace and cessation of hostilities so that the killing of men and women and the massive suffering will end. Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. The people of Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, Western Sahara, still remain under forceful occupation and repression by Morocco is unacceptable in a world that preaches liberty built on the principle of democratic expressions. Humanity remains in bondage as long as the United Nations continue to allow this aberration by Morocco to continue. We call once again for all the progressive elements and nations of the world to work together for a free Western Sahara. The enslavement of these people must stop. Cuba. The continued blockade of the nations of Cuba by the United States of America remains an aberration and must stop. The economic embargo placed on the nation by the U.S. is an unacceptable punishment for the citizens of Cuba, as it seeks to restrict their ability to access the basic necessity of life. The U.S., as the basis of democratic expression, ought to show leadership in this direction so that the people of Cuba can breathe. Conclusion. Distinguished guests, as we conclude, let us remember true leadership prioritizes the people above all else. Success is not measured by promises or control, but by how well we meet the people's needs, ensure their security, and provide essential services. Good governance means accountability and prioritizing citizens. To achieve this, we must address corruption, insecurity, and brain drain. Fair treatment of workers isn't charity, it's smart economics. We demand fair wages that motivate and inspire productivity. Our leaders must serve the nation, not exploit it. We reject greed and call for patriotism and commitment. Let's build a nation we are proud of. We insist on genuine dialogue and respect for democratic freedoms. Investigate attacks on journalists and communities impartially. Security starts with prioritizing people. Let's put Nigeria first for the sake of our future. We conclude this speech. We cannot conclude this speech without making these further demands. That the government restrain itself from the use of violence in civil engagement within the industrial relations sphere. An immediate reversal of the unilateral hike in electricity tariff, enthronement of service reflective tariff, and stoppage of segregation of consumers. An expansion of National Labour Advisory Council activities and increasing its periodicity. The establishment of constant tripartite workplace audit at the federal, state, and enterprise level. An immediate rollout of CNG buses nationwide as agreed. Full implementation of October 2nd agreement signed with government. While we commend the Registrar of Trade Union for registering more unions, we demand the new unions to be registered in the informal sector. We call for urgent rethink of the presidential system of governance as practiced in our country. Once again, we call for a review of electricity privatization exercise with a view of a reversal. Again, we demand a two-state solution to the crisis in the Middle East. The hypocrisy around international issues imperils our world. Peter has been doing a good job, so do not scrap it, but leave it for pensioners. We call for the payment of 25,000 naira palliative promised pensioners since last year. 25. We call for the national minimum pension to be negotiated alongside national minimum wage. Nigerian workers call for a one-year moratorium on all forms of taxes, levies, dues, collectibles from the informal economy by state and local government. The immediate inclusion of workers in the committee set up to implement the Orosare report to ensure that workers' interests are protected through the President's action and appointment since assumption of office have already exacerbated the challenges the report sought to resolve. The implementation of the Science, Technology and Innovation Policy and its provisions for the National Research and Innovation Council for improved funding of research. We call for the National Assembly to expedite the passage of the National Research and Innovation Council Bill and of Mr. President to give assent thereafter. The restoration of fuel queues around the nation should be nipped in the bud immediately. The forwarding of the reviewed National Administrative Labor Administration Law in Nigeria to the National Assembly for passage into law. I repeat that again. The forwarding of the reviewed Labor Administration laws in Nigeria to the National Assembly for passage into law. We wish workers all over the world a wonderful May Day celebration. Our day it is. May we meet again stronger in 2025, God willing. Long live the Nigerian Labour Congress.
Long live.
Long live the Trade Union Congress.
Long live.
Long live working people.
Long live.
Long live Nigeria.
Long live.
A people united
Can never be defeated.
A people united
Can never be defeated.
A people united
Can never be defeated.
Workers united
Can never be defeated.
Solidarity
Forever.
There is victory for us.
There is victory for us in the struggle for our members. There is victory for us.
Forward,
Forward, ever. Backwards, never.
in the struggle,
In the struggle for our members, there is victory.
great Nigerian workers, great Nigerian workers, greatest of the greatest of the greatest of the greatest Nigerian workers.
Grassroots politician and mobilizer, former transition chairman and former commissioner, Mommy, you're welcome. Yes.
Happy Workers' Day to all of us. I am delighted to be in your midst today for the 2024 May Day rally in solidarity with Nigerian workers. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers of this event. And thank you for inviting me to share this significant occasion with you as we celebrate today in honoring the backbone of our nation, the workers. Aware that May Day also is known as International Workers' Day, celebrated on the 1st May in over 80 countries worldwide to commemorate the historic struggles and gains made by workers and labor movements. In our great country today, the first International Workers' Day celebration was commemorated in 1980, and it has since become an annual event for the Nigerian labor movement. Thus, today being the first May Day under this administration, it again reminds us of the great sacrifices made by the working class towards enthronement of dignity of labor, generation of wealth, and to ensure safe working environments which are key to national growth and development. Fellow comrades, as we gather here under the theme People First, we are reminded of the fundamental principle that must guide our actions and policies, which is the prioritization of the welfare and well-being of our people. Our gathering today, therefore, is a testament of our firm commitment to placing the needs and aspirations of our workers at the forefront of our national agenda through provision of fair and just working conditions, which are not just ideal, but basic human rights. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu believes that every worker deserves to toil in an environment free from exploitation, discrimination, and oppression. We must therefore strive to create workplaces that foster dignity, respect, job security, and inclusivity for all. A foundation upon which individuals build their lives and support their families. In our rapidly changing world, we must recognize the importance of guaranteeing stable employment opportunities to our workforce by investing in policies and initiatives that safeguard jobs and create avenues for sustainable livelihood, where wages must reflect the true value and effort of labor. It is thus unacceptable for any worker to toil tirelessly and still struggle to make ends meet. And that's the value of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Hence, the ongoing effort by government to pay wage awards to workers and the review of national minimum wage by a tripartite committee involving the representatives of employers, workers, and government towards ensuring that every worker receives a fair living wage that enables them to live with dignity, provide for their families, and contribute to the growth of our economy. We must therefore see each other as partners in progress and utilize the initiatives already provided by the government to turn our challenges into new opportunities for national growth and development by lending our support to this administration, which has promised and remains committed to revitalizing the economy in line with its mantra of renewed hope for unity and prosperity for all through careful implementation of its 8-point agenda as is clearly set out. As we commemorate this Workers' Week, let us not forget the sacrifices and contributions of the labor movement in shaping our nation's history. Let us honor the legacy of those who fought for the rights and freedoms we enjoy today by continuing that struggle for justice, equality, and solidarity. Let us stand united in our resolve to building a future where every worker is valued, respected, and empowered to achieve their dreams, because together we can create a Nigeria where the well-being of our people is not just a slogan, but a lived reality. You will recall that on January 30th, 2024, the federal government took a decisive step towards enhancing the welfare of Nigerian workers by inaugurating a 37-man tripartite committee on minimum wage. This committee was tasked with the critical responsibility of recommending a realistic, and I repeat once again, a realistic national minimum wage that aligns with our current economic landscape. Since then, the committee has been working tirelessly alongside labor leaders to reach an agreement on a new national minimum wage that reflects the country's economic realities. And I repeat, that reflects the country's economic realities. Although the committee could not reach a consensus at its last meeting before the May deadline, we want to reassure Nigerian workers that we are working diligently around the clock with organized labor to conclude negotiations and ensure a successful outcome. Our commitment is unwavering. The Nigerian workers should be rest assured
that despite the short delay, the minimum wage will take effect on from 1st May 2024. We are not going to lose any time. Moreover, the government is receptive to the committee's suggestion of transitioning beyond a mere minimum wage to a living wage that truly reflects the value of workers' contributions. And when we talk about this, we mean that even the private sectors will key into minimum wage. Families will key into minimum wage. So it's going to affect the drivers, it's going to affect the house help, and it's going to affect everybody. So it's a tedious one that we are working to make sure that we achieve the value of what is placed before us. In conclusion, I urge all stakeholders to embrace a spirit of cooperation, understanding, and patriotism, coupled with diligence and increased productivity. And I repeat, increased productivity. By working together, we can lift our nation out of poverty and usher in an era of prosperity for workers and citizens alike. Rest assured that this government empathizes with the struggle of workers and citizens and will not falter in its commitment to their well-being. Finally, we urge the organized labor to maintain social dialogue in resolving disputes. We are together, President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is the driver in this journey. All the appointees are the conductors, and all Nigerians and foreigners living in Nigeria are passengers. And I am sure and very sure that by the grace of God, our vehicle will take us to our destination. In Jesus' name. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.